Education Ideology. Megan has developed a framework in which ideology can be assessed and explored. I will be analysing my ideology using 3 of the key ideas put forth: learning and the role of the teacher, teaching resources, facilities and extracurricular provision, and the purpose of assessment. Let's start by exploring learning and the role of the teacher. I believe that the purpose of education should be to enlighten and inspire children for the future, and to discover their own personalities and interests. Teaching practices should seek to encourage and engage this personal development, and that teachers should be there to facilitate and guide a child's learning journey. But they should also allow a child to exercise their natural curiosity. They should not simply be led through the educational process. In this respect, I am highly supportive of the teaching practices of Steiner schools. Under this teaching method, children undertake a 2-hour main lesson and then bring this knowledge together with a subject lesson in the afternoon, allowing for real application of the taught knowledge. During my own school life, I often questioned the reasoning behind why I was learning certain things, and this completely disengaged me from my studies. I needed to understand a practical reason as to why I was learning the subject, and the practical application helped me to aid my understanding. From my experience in schools, I have often seen the similar disengaged faces, questioning what is the point, and why am I learning this? These questions need to be assessed in order to keep a child interested and enthralled in learning, something which I aim to achieve in my classroom. This clip from Robinson's talk, Creativity, Learning and the Curriculum, mirrors this thinking.
The big problem, I think, for education is that it's based on principles of conformity and increasingly of standardisation. And the consequence is that many people pass through the whole of their education feeling disconnected from it because it doesn't speak to them. It depresses them spiritually. So when we talk about getting back to basics, I think we should. As I see it, these are the basics, not a group of subjects. The basics are these. There are 3 purposes, as I see it, to education. The first of them is personal. That education is inevitably and unavoidably and properly personal.
Education should not be viewed as a conveyor belt process. We are individuals and education should represent this. Teaching resources, facilities and extracurricular provision. In my teaching philosophy, I believe that students should have a large array of teaching resources and facilities in order for their learning to be adequately supported. In conjunction to this, I believe that smaller class sizes would allow for a child to receive a more thorough education, and this will also allow for the children to have less competition in regards to facilities and resources within the classroom. This would also mean that they would have more opportunities to use these provisions. Furthermore, smaller class sizes also allows the teacher to not have to divide her attention between so many pupils, and also allows for the teacher to plan their teaching to the strengths of all their pupils. In my ideology, children should have access to IT facilities at least twice a week in order for our children to have adequate training to be able to access jobs in the future, in which an estimated 35% of current jobs could become automated within the next 20 years. We need to be educating our children for the future, not for today's standards. But in addition to this, I think that all teachers should be well versed in IT skills themselves, perhaps with the additional skills test alongside the English and Maths in order to access teacher training, as 37% of teachers have admitted that they don't have the right skills to be able to teach using AV technology efficiently. Teachers need to be able to use and understand the resources and facilities themselves in order for it to be used effectively in a teaching setting. Furthermore, one of the key facilities in the school system is the special educational needs and welfare team support. I believe that this importance also needs to be heightened in British schools. In Finland, this is one of the key facilities in which they use.
We are putting a lot of emphasis on the early detection of any difficulties and problems that the students in our schools may have. And this is a very different policy to many other countries where these measures are designed in a way that they are implemented only when the problems have emerged and are too visible. But we don't think like this in Finland. I think we believe in this early intervention to make sure that those who are likely to be in trouble will be recognized early and provided help and support as quickly as possible.
And this leads to about 40% of students receiving special intervention in order to help those students who need help get the support and attention in which they need. I believe that every student should be able to access this facility and provision, and I think that it would help students if they knew that they had a system in place to be able to go to and receive help without the attached stigma. The purpose of assessment. Under my ideology, the point of assessment is to accurately determine at what stage a child is at in order to be able to further their education. I feel that there are little to no positives associated with summative assessment, as simply regurgitating facts and rote learning does not demonstrate real understanding. It is widely accepted that not every child learns in the same way, so it is unrealistic to assume that all children test in the same way too. Not every child will find written examinations an appropriate way to display their knowledge. Never mind attaching time constraints and unnecessary pressure to these tests as well. If a child runs out of time in an exam and fails to gain the best grade, does that mean that writing quicker would make them more qualified for the future? No, it means that the assessment did not give them ample opportunity to express themselves. Therefore, in my ideology, we would focus more on formative assessment in order to give every child an equal chance to show their skills and knowledge. As Bartlett and Burton state, formative assessment can be done in a relaxed manner that is open and honest, rather than summative assessments, which I feel have lost sight of what is really important and the main focus of educational practice, the individual.